Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas and you're watching India Forum. I have someone who truly connects with India in a way which is a ray of inspiration for many of us. Let me recollect this line from a movie which says, "एक दिन मिट जाएगा माटी के मोल, जग में रह जाएंगे प्यारे तेरे बोल." And you have also heard that picture speaks 1,000 words, something like that. So basically, बोल जो है वो हमारे कर्म के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं और अपने कर्म को लेकर जब हम अपने मातृभूमि की तरफ बढ़ते हैं तो क्या क्या दिखाई देता है, क्या क्या हम करना चाहते हैं, क्या कुछ हम कर पाते हैं. All that is related to the way we define our limits and that particular way in which Dr. Surendra Kaushik tried to overdo or to remove certain limitations and following his passion and his heart is remarkable. And he was also conferred Pravasi Bharatiya Samman this year by President of India, and I have the pleasure of the presence of Dr. Surendra Kaushik.
Namaskar. Thank you, sir.
Kaushik Sahab, we all have our own stories, but real quick, I want you to share with us. You grew up in a tiny village in Rajasthan and then becoming a professor at Pace University. Quickly, if you share those struggling
Yes,
steps.
thank you very much. Indeed, it was a small village, and it's still a village, even though now the population has grown to something like 18,000 people, because people from small hamlets and farms are coming and settling there. In any case, the condition of the village around the time of independence, as we know, the condition of India was the same everywhere. And it remained the same everywhere throughout last 60 years because progress has been more or less even throughout the system and throughout India. And villages have been slowest to grow, and for the roads to reach and water pipes to reach and electricity to reach and so on. So one of the things I noticed as a child, a very young child, 5 years and so on, that 2, 3, 4 people who were educated, who were given such a reverence and high honor and respect by everyone because they had a BA degree or maybe somebody had an MA degree. And these were the headmaster and the doctor and so on, 3, 4 people in the village. So it quickly gave me a sense of the importance of education. And then I looked around as a child. Of course, there was hardly any education institution for girls.
Let me just stop you for a second. While you were studying in village, did you know anybody who was in America at that time? How the idea that you should...
No, I did not. I did not. Actually, I did not meet and see anybody who had been anywhere near America until I got to the college. And when I got to college in Podar College, Navalgarh, which was about 70 kilometers from the village, then there was a professor who had returned from US, and I was head of the planning forum in the college.
I see.
So we invited him to give a talk. So that my first experience with an Indian who had been to America, studied and went back and so on. And then in Jaipur, we had professors. Actually, C. Rangarajan, who is the Prime Minister's economic advisor, he was a professor at a Department of Economics in Jaipur, and he just left when I got there to do my MA. And then there was Raja Chalaya and Raj Krishna and many other famous economists.
So let's just go back to mindset of Surendra Kaushik ji of the time when you started dreaming of coming to America.
Yes.
What was the main thing that attracted you towards America, and also was it clear to you that you want to teach?
Yes, it very much was, because as I said, I realized the education of, the importance of education as a child, and I kept that in my heart and in my mind. Basically a promise to myself, a secret promise to myself, that I would do something in that area if I were ever in a position to do so. So I kept that and kept going with it, and I focused on education. Along the way, it was so important to me that I was actually engaged during my college years, and I said to the family that I would get married to whomever they selected only after I finished my graduation, not before it. And lo and behold, within a few months, in the second year, they said, well, the girl's parents want to do the marriage ceremony now. I said, but we had a promise, you know. They said, no, no, no. I said, what happened? So they said, oh, the girl has become mature. The parents say. I said, this is become mature in 3 months, you know. So I said, no way. They said, no, you cannot break a family promise. I said, I can and I will. Because if you wait for this marriage to happen after I finish my college, I will do it. Otherwise, it is off. So it was a very traumatic time for my family for this decision. And I'm sharing this story only to emphasize how important this idea I had put into my head to keep on education and finish it. And even the same story continued here, basically saying that I would not get married until I get PhD. Actually, I moved the post line, you know, the goal line further from a bachelor's to a PhD.
So, sorry, I mean, this is not the kind of question you are asked on television, but you never saw that girl?
No, no, we never saw that girl, and I sent my Janam Patri, you know, the horoscope to their family, and they got so mad at me for breaking the engagement, so to speak, or at least the commitment, that they never returned my horoscope. So that was lost. My original horoscope was lost.
I see. But then you created your own destiny in some way.
Exactly. So we continued, and I had then more foreign American influence at the university. And then I was most lucky that pursuing this, I ended up at the Institute of Economic Growth and Delhi School of Economics in Delhi, where all the luminaries of economics, again, Raj Krishna, P.N. Dhar, A.K. Sen, Jagadish Bhagwati, Manmohan Singh, they were all there. This is the time period of 67 to 70, 68, 69 time period. And even Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was a professor there in Delhi School of Economics. So that was the interaction, and foreigners, including Americans, coming through and giving talks and lectures and research papers. And I just continued on.
Let me just stop you for a moment. So you have been exposed to American education system and Indian education system in a very special way. So comparing the two, what difference do you see?
Well, the difference here it is very focused. And result oriented and application oriented. In India, we learn as a generic thing, although I believe that in India, the Indian education systems allows you to think in a broad perspective. It's a systemic thinking, connecting various elements, which we've been doing for 10,000 years, 5,000 years in the Indian system of thought and culture and so forth. So I think that's a big difference. We still do that, and that's why our exam papers are journal papers, which is very important to be able to think big and to be able to connect. But then we got a little short on specifics and things and job-related and specific skills. That's where now the education system in India is building up. And I believe eventually this India-American strategic partnership on the education side of it, you know, along with energy and environment and nuclear and military alliance and all those things going on right now, very close connection building up between the US and India. Education is one of those strategic areas. So I believe the American education system has begun to have its impact, and both in terms of content and delivery.
Just jumping to another side, there are many, of course, not many, but people who pursue their PhD, do their doctorate. They have a theme on which they work, and they gain a lot of knowledge in that particular area.
Yes.
What after that? Is it just for the consumption of that individual who was pursuing that knowledge? Or, I mean, in general and in your case in particular, what happens to that knowledge which we believe was not existing in this shape and form as is now because of this person who maybe 5 years, 7 years, 3 years, whatever, was doing his PhD? So in your case, How do you see from that
Well,
angle?
the way I say is to apply it, and one is simply to continue doing research, which is adding to the knowledge in your specialization, which is what a PhD is all about. That
So
you
what was your
specialize.
subject of PhD?
My subjects were monetary policy and business and financial policy, and
This is general again?
no, and the study of interest rates. And my thesis actually was on Indian monetary policy and financial management of the country, and overall general economic development. But specifically, it was in monetary policy.
So we'll switch gears and we'll go to Helena Kaushik Foundation very soon. But just last tidbit on this side, based on your knowledge, why we are witnessing, on the one hand we hear that America is not doing well, India is doing well economically, but rupee is declining as compared to dollars more and more. How is this working out?
One of the things that is very important in economics is the sociology and the psychology. And the psychology in the world, based on the reality of slow growth or no growth in Europe and the US, the financial trouble last 4 years, mismanagement by leadership of the world, is now has reached India. So there is a lot of negative things, and in fact it is supported by slowing down of growth to what the government itself is forecasting to 6 to 7% range rather than 9 to 10%, 11% range, which India achieved for a short period. And people had hoped that that would continue. But a lot of negatives have reached India, including tax policies, modernization, opening up, the talk of corruption, and everybody in India from president down to the village punch says that we shouldn't have corruption and so on. So everybody is highlighting, more or less confirming that it is there, but that we should deal with it and get over it and so on. So that alone creates an acceptance of the state of condition existing. And apparently there is some negativity that has reached the foreign investor. And overall kind of a gridlock and there are too many politics and so many factors. But altogether, the negative sentiment, the psychological aspect in the world has now reached India to slow it down. And when you go down to from 10 to 6% range, it's a significant drop.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, because India is connecting to the world, the more you're connected, the more you're going to be affected by both the incoming and outgoing forces, economic, social, political, military, and all that stuff. So it just confirmed that India was much more linked with the world than it used to be as an isolated, closed economy before the reforms began in 1991.
So as they say, there are two sides of the coin. So something which might look as a very, very advantageous area may prove to have something hidden with it, which may bring downfall. So one is required to be alert as an individual, as a society, as a nation, and alert to see what is it that works for you, so that you bring out the best amongst the citizens, etc., etc. We are talking on two sides, one individual side or personal journey of Dr. Surinder Kaushik and how he connects with society. So we continue. So continuing our conversation with Professor Surinder Kaushik, we talk a little bit about your love affair. When I say love affair, of course, earlier you were mentioning about the arranged marriage, which you didn't want to commit at that particular juncture. And then there comes a time about which there have been songs like Johnny जब बोला था तुझसे शादी करेगी मुझसे कैसे करा था ये बता. Take us to those days in your life.
Yeah, well I met this beautiful American, in Boston, and I used to watch her and so on a few times by the mailboxes in the building. And the supervisor, whose office was in the lobby, would occasionally say to me, "You like that girl?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Hello to her." So, So you got to start, you know. So I did that one day and next day and so on. And that's how it grew. And finally, I used the simplest line, but effective line. Could we have coffee together someday? And that worked, you know. And so it moved very fast. And we fell in love and got married back in '73. Unfortunately, 18 years later, in January '91, she had a major stroke. And it's now 21 and a half years, and we are taking care of her at home. In the meantime, in '96, I went to India on a sabbatical, lecturing at many universities throughout India. And during that trip, I finally took the courage of announcing what I had in my mind and my heart since childhood, is to say that we would set up a girls' college in the village where I was born.
Setting up a girls' college, and that too in the name of the one who became your life partner,
Correct.
Helena Kaushik. So Helena Kaushik Foundation came into being, and then in order to implement this idea of starting a women's college, you need a lot of things. You need a lot of commitment, courage, consistency, and also ability to overcome all the hurdles that come your way. So from that point of view, rewinding 14 years back.
It has been a long journey and continues to be a struggle and journey, as all these things are, as an operating unit, and to implement a vision, a big vision here. And that is because Helena had been to India with me many times, and she loved children and education and health. Once we decided it, and she of course already had her stroke, so when I announced to her, she says, you know, why basically I went to Government of Rajasthan to apply to get the permission, which in India called NOC, the No Objection Certificate. And the first question on the application form for a college was simply name of the proposed institution. And instantly I put her name. And the logic behind that was 2, 3, 4. One is to emphasize education. Secondly, women's education. Thirdly, women's higher education. Fourthly, women's higher education in villages. Fifthly, to make America-India connection, women-to-women connection, and to have my own NRI connection to India. So all of these were the factors.
You know, one factor which you are not mentioning, and which is probably right on your part not to mention, somewhere beneath all these factors is this song which would probably have these three powerful words, which is "I love you." So that probably is
absolutely, absolutely,
which is very nice. But then just emotions are not enough.
No, but it took 2.5 years to get that permission. But we continued. I make 10, 12 trips in the 97, 98 time period. Finally, after hundreds of faxes, phone calls, and recommendations letter to Chief Minister Gehlot and his government at that time, finally we got the permission in spring of '99, and we opened the college in '99 academic session in August. Actually, it was a big celebration, a big start. So that's how it came about, and its expansion has continued. We started with 5 subjects, 3 are minimum, obviously, 5 subjects, and now we have 12, 13 subjects optionals in BA, and 7, 8 in BSc, and that many in MSc, and that many in MA, and we have BEd. So every year we have been adding and expanding the system.
Wonderful. So now if you want to know more about this inspiring story in person, there is a very important event that is coming up, and that event also tells us that how close contact Helena Kaushik Women's College have with Government of India, because an important minister from Government of India is going to be a part of it. Tell us a little bit about what is happening on 9th June.
On the 8th of June,
8th
of June, we have a gala celebration of completion of 13 years of the college. And we then set up a foundation here because essentially all of the funding is from the US. There is hardly any funding from India. The only funding so far in India that we got a room named by the Maharana Mewad Education Trust Fund. But otherwise, essentially all of the funding is from the US. And it's a family and friends and other people, our trustees, Americans giving. So we want, actually I want to thank you. Back in 2000, I appeared with you here and talking about this. And people actually called in questions, answer and so forth. So we want to have people get involved. You see, we are amazing people, Indians in the US and around the globe. More than 50% of us who are here are highly successful because we are highly educated. And the same thing is happening to educated people in India and those who have a chance to connect with the outside world. So we really have got to expand the opportunities on the education level, whatever village. But actually, unless you get to higher education, there's not really much you can do. You know, so we want people to get involved and come and celebrate with us and get involved in any way they want to.
I don't want to distract your focus, but nowadays one gets a lot of information that this higher education is becoming a big business in India. And there are many people who have many colleges, and it's like used as another industry, education industry, so to say. So from those kind of commercial organizations and this Helena Kaushik, what is the basic difference?
Well, the basic difference is that this one is a non-profit and it's all for public good, in other words, and it is focused on education. It's not a business, but let me comment on that business idea though. First of all, most of education in India is public education, government, primary, secondary, college, and so on. Actually, there's a very small percentage of private education, and those that are mostly good, high quality, and public service orientation colleges and private universities. That there are opportunities in technology business or business courses, and some people obviously they get proper permission and run it on a proper basis. I actually conceptually don't find anything wrong with it because they are fulfilling a need in the market.
No, I don't deny that. But the thing is, when you seek people to contribute, and if they are giving their funds, then if it is a business, then they will have.
True. But on the other hand, there is such a shortage of educational opportunities. As the Minister of HRD, Mr. Kapil Sibal, continues to say, and the ministry, that only about 13 out of 100 high school graduates have a chance to go to college in India. So the capacity limitation is still large, very large. But it's good though. The government is expanding the top level universities, all the IIMs are being doubled, IITs are being doubled in number across the country, that every state will have an IIT and IIM and so forth, which is great. But that still leaves a lot of population. Remember, 1.3 billion. 500, 450, 500 million young people, and you have a capacity for 13 million. Okay, so there's a lot of room for everybody.
So there is a lot of room for everybody, and Dr. Surinder Kaushik is inviting you to join this particular, call it a project, mission, passion, love, whatever. So 8th June, Haveli restaurant in Queens itself. If you want to be a part of this evening, wherein Vyala Ravi, our Minister of Foreign Affairs.
And Mrs. Mamta Sharma, the chairperson of the National Commission of Women. And that organization has been very supportive of us.
They'll be there, and of course you are going to be there. And if you want to find out more about how to be there, indeed this website address is going to give you all the details.
Yes, sir. There is a link called 2012 recognition dinner on our website www.helenakaushik.org.
Yes. Wonderful. Professor Surinder Kaushik with us talking about his journey his personal struggles and road to success, as well as how to realize the sense of compassion that is there in you. Wonderful being with you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Lots
you.
of good wishes.
Thank you.
Pravasi Bharatiya awardee, Dr. Kaushik, thanks to him, and thanks to all of you for being with us.
Thank you.